What's going on, Jerome's? Happy Sunday, everyone out there. Thanks for making us part of your day. Vikings, I was going to say daily live stream. It's not it. Vikings-Cowboys Pregame Show, the most important pregame show in the history of mankind. Vikings looking to move to 500, 5-5, staying alive against the 2-7 decrepit Dallas Cowboys coming in cool. Tajay Sharp, healthy Scratch Sharp. So we'll get you into the game. We'll talk a little Cowboys-Vikings. We got some Q&A. We got inactives as well. Got a lot of things going on, right? So Dallas is going to have Andy Dalton back. He is back from a concussion. He suffered week 7 against Washington, as well as he was diagnosed with COVID. So it's less than ideal. And there's a lot of media coverage about Andy Dalton's road to recovery back, because he apparently got hit pretty hard with it. So glad that he's made it back. Glad that he's good to go. So there you go. I would have preferred to face Ben DiNucci, though. Ben DiNucci or Garrett Gilbert, but is what it is there. And also on paper before the season, this is why you should take all preseason projections with a grain of salt, because, I mean, the Cowboys, who knew this was going to happen to Dallas? So, offensive line banged up. Bilal Collins out. Tyron Smith out. Dak out. It's really unfortunate. Van Der Esch missed a handful of time with a broken collarbone as well. Plus, I mean, they're so banged up on the offensive line that they're starting all-world right guard Zach Martin at right tackle. Wow. I think they're just scared to DJ want him. Is what it is. Vikings inactives. Tajay Sharp. Tajay, healthy scratch Sharp. I mean, does this guy ever dress? No. Well, he doesn't play special teams either, so it's whatever. Curtis Riley, the safety. They got Metellus up. Dylan Mabin, standard. Austin Cutting. So we had predicted this when the Vikings announced they had signed a long snapper, 33-year-old Andrew DePaula. And also they announced on Saturday that he was going to be elevated to the game day 55. Well, you're not going to have two long snappers on the game day roster. So I think this is maybe Austin Cutting is dealing with some sort of injury that isn't on the injury report, or this is just a straight up benching. It's one of the two things, because he's had a bad snap in consecutive games, even though last week he was on COVID reserve and didn't get any practice time in. So, yeah, no excuses. I'm glad they're trying to shake things up on special teams. Speaking of which, so you notice that Dan Chisena has been benched, where Chisena, yeah, he screwed up on the downing of the punt, but also under the radar, his lane discipline, him taking bad angles, trying to play hero ball, busted out the Cordero 104-yard return. Also, there was some holding on KJ Osborne, but, you know. Also, him taking a bad angle allowed Anthony Miller to bust out that big punt return in the fourth quarter. So I like what Maloof is doing here. They're basically they're saying, hey, even though you're bottom of the roster, if you don't perform, your ass is going to sit down, and someone else is going to get a chance. Jordan Brailford and, unfortunately, Ezra Cleveland with the ankle is out as well. Cowboys inactives, DiNucci's out, so that means Garrett Gilbert is Andy Dalton's backup. Turner Robinson from Tulsa, I think. I want to say. Anea's out. And like we mentioned, Zach Martin is starting at right tackle for the Vikings. So, happy day. And then Connor McGovern, the mildly okay one, as opposed to the bad one, is going to be starting at right guard. So, getting into the Q&A. Eric Anderson, how impressive has Gary Kubiak been recently? I'm starting to feel as long as he is calling the plays, our offense will keep us in every game. Well, I think just like everyone, Kubiak would have benefited from some preseason. Yes, he is a Super Bowl winning head coach, but he hadn't called plays since 2016. So there was a little bit of shaking off the rust, as well as getting to calibrate what you could do with the specific weapons he had. Also, the whole not playing Justin Jefferson, that turned out to be a mistake. So, yeah, Kubiak is really feeling himself right now, and it's good to see. MN Sports Grief, I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited to see what Brett Jones had been behind Elfline and Drew Smith on the depth chart. Brett Jones finally getting his shot. Our kingdom has come. We're excited for the Pride of Regina. Pulford Skull, you see, Chris Jones commented on one of my posts. Thought that was pretty cool. We should give the kids some love and invite more Vikings players on the channel. Let's get the win today, boys. Skull. Yeah, someone pointed that out. It's cool, but also, so I know that some players watch the channel. Also, Spielman pretty obviously watches the channel too. But also, want to keep it on the down low because we want to keep the option of just talking mad junk all the time open. Yeah. Bung Magoo. You looking for the red rifle to have a big game? He's got some talent wide out to throw out. I don't know if he's going to have any time. I mean, that offensive line is dinged up and bad. Yeah, you can certainly get after that. I mean, they're starting Joe Looney at center for Christ's sake, so yeah, get after it. Brady Anacker, how many tutties is JJ gonna have today? I'm gonna say one. I'm gonna say he goes for a $115 and a touchdown. Quiet game, yeah. Eric Anderson, did you see Justin Jefferson was sliding into the DMs of CeeDee Lamb's girlfriend? If true, that's hilarious. Matty Mack, free agent signings you wish we made last year, roster cuts we made at the end of this one. Skull from Massachusetts. Free agent signings you wish we made last year. Well, if Joe Thuney hadn't been franchised, sure. Roster cuts you hope we make at the end of this one. I think Barr is gone. I would like Reef back at a pay cut. I don't know if they could swing that twice in a row, though. I would like Rudy restructured or a straight up pay cut. One of those pay cut or cut situations. Connor McMullen, how come you don't live stream the entire game? Because I enjoy not talking sometimes, as strange as it may sound. I know that some people have talked about that, and there's some really successful YouTubers who do stream the full games, including Tom Grossi. I don't know. Like, I'm gonna sit here most of the time, just like type away at notes, doing graphics, making jokes that no one's here to laugh at, and you probably won't laugh at it if it's on stream. Nah, I feel like we do enough. Maximus Meridius, who has been your favorite player of the last decade? On the Vikings or in general? In general, it might be Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's fun to watch. Viking, last decade? Probably Harrison. Yeah, Harrison's a pretty safe one. Hutter Butter. If they beat the Cowboys and Christian McCaffrey comes back when we play the Panthers, I don't know if you hear that, but my son is teething. He's not having a good time right now. We play the Panthers. Would we win? And do you think Dalvin Cook will have a good game? Yes, and also Dalvin will prove who the best running back in the GDNFL is. Daniel Olson, what NFL regular season game do you think should be the game of the year? Vikings-Bucks. The Vikings just come in and put 72 on Tom Brady's old ass. Howdy, brothers. Seriousness, Chiefs have an interesting schedule, right? Chiefs at Bucks is going to be pretty interesting. Yeah, I'll go Chiefs at Bucks next week. It's a late game on CBS. No. Next up is, because there's not like a standout bust out team this year, even though the Steelers are undefeated. I don't know, like, does anything interest you about the Steelers? Not really. Claypool, Juju. It's really about it. Yeah. They're the most boring undefeated team in a while. Howdy, brothers. Do you think Justin Jefferson will eventually take over the number one spot from Thielen? If so, when? Yes. Might have already happened. You look at the way that teams have been rolling coverages and assigning cornerbacks. I mean, Jar Alexander was on Justin Jefferson the majority of the game, week 8. So that's respect. That is wide receiver 1 treatment. Sefer Sailor. If you had the option to trade Jeff Gladney a second rounder for Jeff Okudah, would you take it? No. I think Gladney's really rounding into form. I really like Okudah. He's had a rough go of it to start. He will bounce back, but also I'm not partnering with the second rounder. He already have a second rounder this year. Mark Jr., do we show up after a big-time win? I'm a little nervous of that. Yeah, that's going to be a big test for Zimmer. And it was the big test after the Green Bay game as well, because that could have easily been the Viking Super Bowl, and they could have just mailed the rest of that year in. It's like the 2018 Dolphins, after they beat the Patriots on that Miami Miracle with 17 laterals, then they came into U.S. Bank Stadium and got woodshedded. It was Kevin Stefanski's first game as offensive coordinator after John DeFilippo was fired. So, yeah, so that Detroit game could have been the letdown. Zimmer didn't let that happen. The players didn't let that happen, which is great. Now, after a big-time Monday night win, getting that monkey off your back, you had a spot where Amazon guy, what you looking at? What you looking at, Amazon guy? Randy Blair. I don't know. He must have been double checking the house number. Anyway, yeah, the Vikings traditionally could have easily just mailed this one in. Like, say if the Vikings were 7-2 right now, and then it's like, you just let one go, right? So that's actually one of the benefits of starting out so crappy. At 1-5, there's zero room for error. Like, you cannot drop one of these games. Every single week is important, and I think that if you can't artificially create that, the fact that they did it through their rough start, that makes sense. Cooper Shawls. Who are our starting DNs? And in your opinion, who do you think should start at DN? I don't know. Starting DNs are Wanham and Afadi. What do you want? Steelers beat the Jaguars 27-3. Man, Jacksonville's bad. Trace. Man, what do you want? All right, so what happened, so the wife was walking the son, and the Amazon guy delivered the package, and what the kid likes to do is get the garage door opener and then dick around with it, open, close, open, close, open, close, and so the Amazon guy was like, is this house haunted? But whatever. Trace McGuire, Dalvin versus Dallas, 225. Why not 297, you cowards? Let's go. Woo! Matt Collins, draft pile, Mike Rose, linebacker, Ohio State. Kid's replica of Harrison Smith at linebacker. Sure. Oakview. What do you think about the Jags and all other NFC North teams winning get the Pro Bowl? I think it's funny. Yes, could it damage the Vikings in terms of their 2022 fifth-round pick? Who cares? It's hilarious. It's hilarious. T. Diggs. Will Dalvin see the same success he has the last month without Ezra? This week, Dallas is pretty soft in the middle, man. Like, you can certainly run on Dallas. They are 31st in the league in rushing yards allowed. They're 31st in yards per attempt at 5. Oh, Browns. What's up, Browns? So, yeah, I think he'll be fine this week. But long-term, I would like him back. Next up is John Riley. Besides the Vikings, if you had to choose another NFC North team, which team do you dislike the least? And I would probably pick the Bears. Yeah, even though Bears fans, I think that their snake-bitten history, besides the 85 Bears, it does appeal to me. Also, uniforms, classic. Chicago, love their food. City of big shoulders, the Bears. So I'm a big NFL history nerd, and the Hallises and the Bears' place in the founding of the NFL, that intrigues me. I respect the Packers' history, but I hate them with the fury of 1,000 suns because of their stupid fans. So probably Bears 1, Lions 2, and Packers 3. Because I actually thought about this. Like, if the Vikings had moved, like during the Red McCombs era, because I was, how old was I? Like 20. So had to decide, no, I'm going to stick out with this team. Do I become team agnostic like college football and just be a fan? Which is phenomenal, by the way. It's just really great. Or, just jump ship to someone else. Robert Barweiler. Vikings are always... Oh, also, man, if the Vikings were contracted, like the Twins were threatened to be a couple decades ago, and then they got Zach Wilson, all right, baby, we got Stu going. Robert Barweiler. The Vikings are always good for beating a team they shouldn't and losing to a team they shouldn't. Do we experience that loss to the Falcons, or is it still on the schedule? No, I think the Falcons was a wake-up call. Like, hey, Can't do that anymore, man. Can't do it. Can't win with them. Hayden Ziegler, fan of the primetime purple uniforms. Yes, I think that it's one of the only benefits of one of the only good things that come out of the color rush era. Frankie Kearney. Why can't I read? Can you give percent chance of quarterbacks for next year? I'll go Cousins 82%. Not because it would be my choice, but because I think that's what's going to happen given management, given stability, given the contract. Then I'll go rookie the rest of the percent. Jared Lewis. If the Vikings don't take a quarterback who can start day one on Sunday, if the Vikings don't take a quarterback who can start day one on Sunday, but instead draft a project like the kid from Cincinnati, does that guarantee 2 more years of Cousins? Well, they would know that before the draft. Since third day of the new league year, they have to make decisions on Cousins' contract. Either is here 0 years or 2 more years. So going to the draft, like they would have that knowledge. But if the board breaks right, or how maybe the Vikings do see Mac Jones or Kyle Trask as a first-round pick, maybe they do go that route in the first round, or maybe they trade up in the second round, get a pick back, and go do that. But, I mean, as of right now, Desmond Ridder had a big-time comeback win against UCF, man. That was great to see, because I want to see what happens when your quarterback gets punched in the face. What happens when you're facing adversity, when you're not getting the best protection, when you're down in the count, when you're on the road, things aren't going your way. I want to see that you're that guy that'd be like, hey, I got this. Or anyone could look good when you're beating a team by 50 points. Like, anyone can do that. Now, I want to know what happens when you get punched in the throat. That's what I want to know. Evan Casconaway. Did you see a Steelers and Cowboys game? The Cowboys nearly blocked every kick. Guys are yeah, always. Bow to bow. Thoughts on Zach Martin playing right tackle on that guard. They're desperate, and they must see that the Vikings' edge is more dangerous than the defensive interior. Or it could be, Connor McGovern. Oh, overtime. Derrick Henry, the walk-off. Sexy time. Yeah, that Ravens-Tennessee game was a lot of fun to watch. Like, that was old school, like punching in the face. Oh, by the way, Yannick Ngakoue is looking pretty damn good. Had himself another strip sack. Jared Lewis. Oh, yeah, I like that they're filling in with the B team. Jared Lewis, if the Vikings draft Trask, who's not as mobile as some of the other quarterbacks in the draft, are realistic, the Vikings need to draft 2 starting on linemen. Yes, they need, if they do draft Trask, who does have a lot of talent, but he cannot move. I do question his pocket awareness. The Vikings certainly need to invest everything in the offensive line because everything needs to be perfect in front of him. Randy Moss is the boss. TPS at Clyde Edwards-Helaire resembles Cook and Josh Jefferson resembles Ty Hilton. Do you agree with this? Like looks-wise or stylistically? Stylistically, I think Dalvin is a better power back, as well as between the tackles than Edwards-Helaire. I think Dalvin has better open field vision. I think Edwards-Helaire might be a better pure receiver, but I think Dalvin is a far superior all-around back. Jefferson, I feel like that's kind of fair. I feel like a taller T.Y. stylistically. T.Y. is a really underrated receiver, man, because whenever you're talking about the top receivers in the league, T.Y. had always hovered around like 8, 9, 10. He has clearly lost a step, but also playing with Phillip Rivers does not help. I think T.Y. is being underutilized in Indianapolis, but yeah. Got hands like glue. Yeah, but like peak luck in T.Y., whoo, come on. Got hands like glue. Quarterback situation next season and season after if we don't make the playoffs both years and don't get a good draft pick. Next year after and don't get a good draft pick. It's a very confusing question, like it's worded like a statement. Well, you don't have to be at the top of the draft to draft a good quarterback. Vikings can certainly invest a mid-round pick into a Desmond Ridder, into a Kellen Mond, into a Sam Ehlinger, into a Derek King. They certainly can do that. In fact, I would actually be advocating for that, especially if there's a run on quarterbacks early. Hell, maybe wherever the Vikings end up drafting their first round, maybe Trask goes before that. Maybe Mac Jones even goes before that. And guess what? There'll be a lot of talent falling. A lot of offensive line talent. Wyatt Davis, Sam Cosmi, the kid from Virginia Tech. Let's go. Carter Jensen, I think the Vikings will look without Ezra Cleveland. I think that they're going to run a lot less power. I don't see Brett Jones pulling with the same effectiveness as Ezra Cleveland, so I think that they're going to be primarily a lot of outside zone, but that's okay. I mean, Brett Jones is certainly adept in that. Pass protection, I think they'll be fine. Sean Sebastian. Oh, also pass protection, I think they'll be fine as well since Jones is a veteran, been there, done that. Bradbury's talked effusively how he's basically an extra coach out there. So yeah, if this was a rookie, I'd be worried. Or if this was a journeyman TBD, I'd be worried. But the fact that Jones has been here forever, I'm okay with that. Sean Sebastian, I don't know if I have a terrible feeling about the potential Cowboys coming off the bye. No, Vikings by 5 million. King of the North, who has a higher ceiling their career, Lamb or Jefferson? Call me bust, but I think Jefferson is going to be the gem of the draft. My thing about CD in the draft is that I think that he's near tapped out his ceiling, or he's near his ceiling. But, I mean, it's a pretty damn high ceiling, and that says a lot about his game coming in as evidence. Like, he's working that slot phenomenally for the Cowboys. But yeah, I think Jefferson is faster. I think he's quicker. I think he's more explosive. I think that he has a chance to be just a better all-around receiver, even though both of them have an extremely high floor as well. Julian Watron, who are we rooting for in each of these games? I don't know. I have to go back and look. Oh, Jefferson, the primetime purple, by the way. Come on, man. Come on, playa. MJ, the GOAT. Will this be a big loss to Cleveland? No. Also, love channel. R free. What happened to Zeke? Signed a new deal and now seems average at best. Well, the offensive line, man. If the offensive line made Zeke a lot of money, sure, Zeke is decent, but he was amped up to 11 with that O line. Without that offensive line, he's Antoine Smith, and he's like Bills Antoine Smith, not Patriots Antoine Smith. And also Zeke's been dealing with a hamstring injury. But Tony Pollard deserves a better situation. Like, Tony Pollard is a dude. Like, Tony Pollard, go back and look at some of his Memphis tape. He's ridiculous. Westworld, which team is winning the Khalil Mack trade? So Mack was traded for 2 firsts, a third, and then the Raiders also got a second-round pick back. The Raiders also sent a second-round pick to the Bears. The Bears picked up Kmet, the Notre Dame tight end. I believe the Raiders' first-round picks were Jacobs, who's a stud, as well as Damon Arnett, who is okay. I would say Chicago still. I mean, Mack is still a premier edge rusher, even though he didn't get home against the Vikings. But, I mean, Jacobs is a stud, but he's also a running back. And TBD what happens with Kmet and Arnett. Randy Moss is the boss. Who will lead at halftime and was the score? Vikings 16. Oh, game starting. Well, crap. All right, see you at halftime. Skol.